The subject of UFOs and ETs is very complicated, complex, and highly intricate. I don't know if I can condense it down to just a short thing, but I've been investigating ETs and UFOs for over 25 years. I've written 4 books on the subject. So I'm always recommending, if you want to know about the story of the ETs, is to go to my book, The Custodians. That's my 25 years of working with them and all the different phases I went through as I was trying to understand this interesting phenomenon. But in that book, I found the answers to any questions anybody would ever want to ask about UFOs and ETs. Then I went on to write, well, Keepers of the Garden was one of the first ones. Then there was The Legend of Star Crash and Legacy from the Stars, and then The Custodians. And then finally, in my other Convoluted Universe books, we've gone further. But I've found out that they are very positive people. There's nothing to be feared. In 25 years, I've not found a single negative experience out of anybody I've worked with, because I've been able to find out why it's happening and the reasons behind it. And once you understand that, you see the bigger picture. It's not negative at all, because it all falls into place. I do recommend anybody wanting to know more information about this to read The Custodians, because that and Keepers of the Garden tell the story of how we were created by ETs at the beginning of the world and where we came from, our physical bodies and how they were designed. So they have been watching us and taking care of us since the beginning of our creation. That's why many times they're called the Watchers, because they've been watching over our world and over us for such a long, long time. And they're very interested in what we do, just like you are with your own children. In one of my books, they said in there was, why do they always say we're here to take over the world? It's ours, it always has been. And they said, we can't do anything as bad to you as you do to yourself. All they're doing is watching and shaking their heads, figure out what are we going to do next. Because when they created man, and I'm not going to go into the whole complex story, they said, let's give this beautiful planet a creature with intelligence and free will and see what he does with it. And of course, I'm always thinking they're sitting there shaking their heads because they don't like what we have done with it. But we have free will. We have a free will to make mistakes and do things we shouldn't do, as we do in our own lives. That's because this is the only planet in the universe that has been created with free will. I've had many people go back to lifetimes where they lived on planets where there wasn't free will. And they could hardly wait to get out of there and get out of that lifetime, because it was not a very happy lifetime. So this is a very unique planet in many, many ways. And one of the main ones is that we have free will. Another one of the directives that they gave, what is called the Prime Directive when they created Earth, was the Star Trek Directive. Star Trek was not fiction. The Star Trek Directive of non-interference. Once you have created a civilization and it begins to develop, you cannot interfere with the development of that civilization. So they're bound by 2 laws. We must respect our free will, and also they cannot interfere with us. But all through the development of man, whenever the earth needed something, whenever it was developing from the primitive stages and beginning to have civilization, they would come and live among the developing species. Whenever they needed to know how to plant, whenever they needed to know about fire, when they needed to know about hunting, anytime it was the next development, they had to come and live among us to teach us. Every culture in the world has the legend of the culture bringer. The culture bringer is the one who brings the knowledge, such as the Indians have their corn woman, and every culture has someone that has come and taught them how to do things. And in every one of these cultures, in all of their legends, the culture bringer always comes from the sky or from across the sea, which fits in very nicely with ETs. But they have to live among the people to teach them. And because the ETs can live as long as they want, they have conquered disease, illness, and they've also conquered death. They're supposed to live as long as they want. They stayed among these people for eons. No, we'll say eons, not quite that long, but generations and generations and generations. So in all of these countries, in the legends, this is where the legends of the gods and the goddesses came from. These ETs that lived among the people and taught them what they were supposed to do. So they've been there from the beginning, giving us what we need at a certain time. But because the way the earth has been overpopulated now, we have so many people here now, whenever the next advancement is supposed to be given to earth, the next invention, the next idea, they can't come and live with us anymore because there's too many people. So now the next idea has to be put into the atmosphere as an idea. And this way, whoever picks it up will be the one who invents it. We always hear about many people all over the world who are working on the same inventions at the same time. This is why. It's all put into the air, and then whoever gets the idea and invents it is the one who gets the credit. But it means it must be in our timeline. This is the way it's done. At our next advancement, we have to do this. I asked them one time, well, if you can't interfere, isn't that interfering when you come and teach them something? And they said, no, we give it to you as a gift one time. What you do with that is your own free will. And many times, they have given us something that we needed, and we've taken it and used it in the wrong way. It was meant for good, and we've turned it around and used it negative, most of the time turning it into a weapon or something, which they don't like. It was not what it was given to us for. So I said, well, then can't you come back and tell them you're not doing it the way we told you? They said, that's interference. We give it to you one time. What you do with it is your own free will. If we come back and say you're not doing it correctly, that's interference. So we just have to let you do what you want with it because you have the gift of free will.